I'm going to do a quick video on silver this weekend. For whatever reason, I'm seeing a lot of analysts trying to call a top in metals, and I don't understand why. I also see them trying to call a top in the stock market, not really understanding that either. Why is it that when something is making new highs, people want to try and call it a top? Baffling to me. So let me just go over this real quick. This intermediate degree rally broke out above this major resistance that had been in place for three and a half years. The problem was that it came very late in this intermediate cycle, and the rule is that breakouts that occur late in a cycle usually don't produce sustained moves. You need a breakout that occurs early in a cycle to get a sustained move. If a normal cycle length, let's say, is 20-25 weeks, and you get a breakout on week 17, well, you're going to need some weeks for the declining phase of the cycle, and so there's just not enough time to get a sustained move, generally speaking. So I'm usually pretty skeptical about breakouts that occur late in either a daily cycle or, more importantly, an intermediate cycle. So that was the problem right here with this breakout above $30. It came very late in the intermediate cycle. And then gold transitioned into a 3-4 month sideways consolidation. Silver corrected during that time. It actually came down. This is without a doubt our intermediate cycle low, and it bottomed right here on this support zone a little above $26. Then we had our first daily cycle. Some people are trying to call this a half cycle low. I don't think that's correct. I think this is a daily cycle low in silver. We're now pretty early in a second daily cycle, and let me zoom in here. This was just a little too deep, in my opinion, to be a half cycle low, so I'm pretty sure this is a full daily cycle low in silver. And again, here we go. We get a breakout above this resistance zone, but it can't hold. And then we get a move down into the daily cycle low. But then we get a breakout, and we get one that occurs very early in what I am convinced is a new daily cycle. Now, of course, the cartel was trying to block silver at 31 ahead of the quad witching on Friday. And they did manage to take it back down, but they couldn't hold the suppression. And I'm on record that the cartel is dead. Now that doesn't mean they're not going to try. I mean, it took 14-15 attempts for gold to break through 25.50. That's obviously not natural. That is the cartel is trying to suppress price. So they may delay moves, but I don't think they can take the metals down anymore. The metals have, we've got a breakout from a 13-year cup and handle pattern, and the game is over for the cartels. I think the most they can accomplish at this point is just to stall the move a little bit, maybe for a couple of 2 or 3 weeks, but I don't think they can turn the metals back down to any significant degree artificially. Now there will be intermediate degree corrections during the rest of this bull market, and those will be natural, but I don't think we have to worry about artificial sell-offs, major sell-offs in gold and silver anymore. That's pretty much done, and this is a classic example. So we have the attack to try and block this at $31 ahead of the quad witching, but the buyers come in right at that support zone at $30. And the very next day, silver's right back up. And then on quad witching itself, a day where the cartel is almost always successful at suppressing metals prices in order to pin the big ones are GLD, SLV, and GDX. They want to pin those to where the most amount of call options expire worthless. And they were completely unsuccessful on Friday in doing that. And so basically you've got a breakout early in the daily cycle. You've got a retest of support. The buyers came in and bought that support zone. And then you've got follow through on the rally, and on a day when it's very difficult for the metals to break the suppression to hold them down. So I don't understand. Like I said, it's baffling to me why people are trying to call a top. We've got, and let me take you to the big picture. All right, here's the big picture for gold. We've got what was this, a 10, 11 year cup and a 3-4 year handle, and we've got a breakout from the handle. So we've got a breakout from this 13-year cup and handle basing pattern, and we had an initial leg up, a very powerful initial leg up, and then we had about 3 or 4 months of sideways consolidation, and now we've got another leg up, and people are constantly trying to call a top. I don't know why. Gold is transitioning into the final phase of the bull market, and people are trying to call tops. I'll call a top when I see every Tom, Dick, and Jane buying gold and silver. We are in the phase now where gold gets to my target area of 7,000 to 10,000. It's not going to do it this year. It'll take at least 3 to 4 years, but we are on that path at this point. Once this broke out, we have started that final move, and that'll eventually culminate in the bubble with gold at probably at $10,000, and everybody by now knows my targets for silver. $100 silver is going to be a piece of cake. Doesn't mean there isn't going to be corrections and scary times. $100 is going to happen, just like I said 10,000 was going to happen in the NASDAQ. Plenty of scary corrections and even 4-year cycle lows on our way to that 10,000, but it did happen, and we actually have gotten very close to 20,000. And silver, 250 is probably likely, and 500 might even happen during the manic last 6 months of manic bubble phase. Silver could easily go from 100 to 500 during that final 6 months. It's a very thin market, and it doesn't take a whole lot of buying pressure to drive silver crazy to the upside. So $100 piece of cake, 250 very likely, 500 definitely possible in silver. But this is what's going on right here. We've got a breakout from a major basing pattern, and people are trying to call a top in silver when it hasn't. I mean, it's just now breaking out above 30. It hasn't made a higher high yet even, and it certainly hasn't made a higher high above 50. Why in the world people want to call a top right here? And we're only 6 weeks into this intermediate cycle, so it's very early. So we are meeting the parameter of a breakout early in an intermediate cycle, the kind that give you a sustained move. So I think within 2 or 3 next week may be a flat week, but I think within 2 or 3 weeks we're going to test this. And then when we break out above this 32, whatever it was, 70-ish, then it's game on, and we're going to start to see something like this, where price just goes ballistic, 7 to 10% moves for 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and we come up here somewhere. My basic target is somewhere around this pivot at 37.50 to this pivot here at about 44, somewhere in this zone. So it's definitely not too late to get on board. I have given my subscribers a very good, easy way to leverage this move, but one that is easy to hang on to, somewhat easy to hang on to. Leverage is hard to hold on to in the best of times, because you just get, especially in the metals, you get big erratic moves. Sometimes you'll get the cartel will delay the move for 3 weeks, like they did with gold here at 25.50. Delayed that move for 3 weeks, but they didn't stop the move. And actually, it just made it more violent and aggressive when it finally broke through that 25.50, broke that suppression. So the SMT is open for new subscribers right now. You can subscribe. It is not too late to get in on this move in I think silver, and miners they'll probably go hand in hand with silver percentage wise until we really start that ballistic move in the final few weeks, and then I suspect silver will outperform. But we haven't even broken out yet, so plenty of time to get on board. SMT is still open for new subscribers. Once we start to see silver go ballistic, then it is too late to get on board. If you're buying after silver has had a 10% up week followed by a 7% up week, and now you want to buy, you're an idiot. You waited too long. That's not the time to buy. You want to buy before the breakout happens. So still plenty of time. SMT is open for new subscribers right now. And I don't think you're doing yourself any favor listening to people try and call a top in the metals when we don't even have a breakout yet in silver.